There we go.
I'm not allowed to move, so... So we're stuck at home this weekend. Glorious sunshine outside. We were meant to be going to the Lake District, but the van's goosed.
We've got a little overheating problem.
We do, which hopefully is getting fixed on Wednesday. We started reminiscing, looking back at where we've been before, haven't we? Recently, quite a few people have been asking, where did we stay when we went here, where did we stay when we went there, etc. So we thought we'd pull together a little list of our top 10 plus 2 extras, because I like them, campsites.
It's currently mid-June. It's pretty much peak holiday season, so there will be a number of people going to Europe looking for campsite recommendations, and we do, as Sarah said, get asked often of which campsite we stayed at, where and what have you, so we're just going to try and give you some details for you to make your own decision. Last week we went to Van Life Fest in Shropshire, which was really, really good. Weather was perfect. We were going to film it, but the van had zero space to breathe. Our pitch was awful. There was lots and lots of people there, and we met up with some mates as well, and some new mates. So we didn't bother filming any of it. But what I did buy was, what's it called? I bought a Caddy Fireball, a travel Caddy Fireball. The idea is you have a little fire in it and it's got a grill on top so you can cook some food on it. I've currently got a steak in the fridge that I bought from my favourite butcher's, John Davidson's. It's aged in a Himalayan salt chamber and it's a prime rib. I've been dry brining it with some Malden sea salt overnight. It's going to be a peach. Poor boy's suffering a little bit today because it's warm. It's a perfect day for dry and washing. Wind was a bit too strong for the fire pit, so I've had to put the steak on the barbecue, but that's not what you're here for. You're here to hear our thoughts on our favourite campsites in Europe. So let's get stuck in.
So the question is, do we have a Peroni while I tell you about this? Or a glass of rosé? Which should we have? What should I have?
What is it?
I think my sister-in-law and my brother got them us for our anniversary, and the campervan ice cubes, and it's V-dub official, mate. V-dub official. And I'm currently using them for snacks for Jack. Here we go, boy.
Sit. Good boy. This is in no particular order because we just haven't got favourite. But the one I'm thinking of straight away, Caravan Park Sexton in the Dolomites.
I don't think there's anything you can't like about that. So, I mean, it's expensive, but besides that, I suppose it's expensive, but it's mostly value for money, isn't it?
The views from the campsite are outrageous. The mountains around there are phenomenal. The walking trails right from the campsite are just endless. There's cable cars, restaurants, bars, woods. You could stay on site for a week and still not use everything, still not visit every block. It's an absolute masterpiece.
Yeah, I mean, it's got a spa.
The spa is phenomenal.
As long as you want to get naked. Toilets are very luxurious.
Toilet blocks. Every single toilet block is like designed differently. It's like an interior designer's gone into each one and done them completely different, and it all looks very authentically Italian.
Yeah, it's like a bit of artwork in itself.
Bar on site. The fucking dog.
Not ours.
Bar on site with a pizzeria and a shop, like a proper supermarket shop, selling cheese, wine, chocolate, bread, shoes, you name it.
Yeah.
When we stayed there the first time, we did a day trip to Chimmy, which is the 3 peaks in the Dolomites. That's about a 25-minute drive, if that. Again, out of this world area. It's just you'd have to see it to believe it. And then there's the little village. It's about a 45-minute walk, maybe an hour. Pizzeria in there, bar, restaurants, all that type of stuff. The walk from the site to that next town is gorgeous. We did it the first time, didn't we?
Yeah.
And we got there just as we were all having a siesta.
Yeah, and we were starving. We found somewhere that did some sort of weird cake. Tasty weird cake, but weird cake. With wasps. Lots of wasps.
Yeah. Cannot recommend that site enough. You have to, if you are in North Italy, even if you're not planning on going to the Dolomites, if you're going to Northern Italy, treat yourself.
Yeah, definitely. Even if you just do a night to allow for a bit of a use the spa, just enjoy it. It's fabulous. Fabulous. So yeah, that's number one. But not number one, it's just
the first one.
Yeah.
Oh, just about to do our next one, and the steak's ready to come off. Be rested before I then sear it. So back in a minute. Sorry about that. Steak comes first. The one I was going to mention next is Camping Alphabel. Is it Alphabel? Alphabel? Something like that. I'll put it on the screen. In Tash in Switzerland. Switzerland, if you've watched even a few of our videos, you'll know Switzerland's our favourite. Yeah. It's just mind-blowing. Tash, the campsite in Tash isn't the most picturesque. It hasn't got the best facilities. We've been there twice. It's right next to a railway station, which again doesn't sound very appealing, but the site itself is nice and flat. The facilities are good enough. There's a nice restaurant over the road that sells Erdinger
and pizza.
And really nice pizza.
I mean, we don't really like pizza, but it was a good one, wasn't it?
we made an exception. But this particular campsite is right next to the station. This station takes you into Zermatt. That's the key.
Yeah.
Zermatt is it's just a picture postcard alpine village type town type whatever the hell it is. Don't get me wrong, it's busy.
Yeah.
It's packed. It's probably one of the busiest places we've been to within the Alps, if you like. It's geared up for being a ski resort, but it's at the foot of some monstrous 4,000 metre plus mountains, including the Matterhorn. We went up the Gornergrat from there the second time. First time we went, we just mooched around, didn't we? We went into town, we went and had our dinner. Now some people call it lunch, but you're wrong, it's dinner. So it was a midday meal with a couple of beers, I think it was.
I mean, same midday, but I had steak.
It was in view of the Matterhorn. So we sat outside looking at the Matterhorn. Gorgeous, and it cost us about $8. He's on his side at the foot of the tripod trying to get something under the sofa,
and I ain't getting under that couch.
Sit.
So.
Yeah, sorry about that. I had to sort the fucking dog out, and then I had to salt and pepper my steak because it's going back on the sear in a minute. Gornergrat. We got the train up the Gornergrat, which I think is either just below or just above 4,000 metres. Amazing place.
But yeah, really recommend that as a location for getting to some pretty special places. Camping
Alphabel, whatever it is.
ALPBU. I don't know.
Stick it on your list, because right now we've just had a clap of thunder. I've still got to sear this steak, so steak comes first. Stick around and we'll go on to the next one. Right, we're currently on the next day. We got carried away watching the Champions League final, although we only watched the first half because it was boring. Watched the Storm, had our steak and just relaxed for the night. So it's currently Sunday, and let's crack on and tell you some more about campsites. No, don't be a dick. No.
So it's Sunday now. Jack's going dog training today.
Jack's going to naughty school.
Oh, we're going to be trained to train Jack anyway, to not eat other dogs' poo, not pull on the lead, not be an angry knobber, just all the general stuff in life that you shouldn't be. So this is another one that we went to. We've been to it since we've been doing YouTube, but the first time we went to it was before we were doing the videos, wasn't it? And that's is it called Camping Jungfrau or Jungfrau Camping?
Camping Jungfrau.
In Lauterbrunnen. Lauterbrunnen. Amazing site. Again, it's one of them places that we go for one night and end up staying 4 because it's a
popular site as well. If you've seen anyone go to a campsite in Switzerland, the majority of them have been to this campsite for very good reason. Lauterbrunnen is a tiny little village surrounded by walls of big mountains, and the views from it are astonishing. Pretty much all these sites have got great views, but this one is pretty bloody special.
It's got 70 something waterfalls, hasn't it?
72 waterfalls in Lauterbrunnen.
In the valley. The first time we went, we did quite a lot, didn't we? We went to a few of the different waterfalls. We got the train up to the Jungfrau Joch.
Yeah, there's Trummelbach waterfalls that we did the first time. That's an essentially indoor waterfall. So if it's raining, Trummelbach waterfalls is a great place to go because all the water falls in amongst the mountain, in amongst the rocks.
So you're inside in a cave. We also went up to the one right by the campsite, didn't we? We walked up to that the first time we went.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it, but it's the biggest one in the valley.
That's Jack chewing on his snake. And that's a toy, not his snake. Yeah, and then we went up the Jungfrau Joch, didn't we? Which was just amazing because it must have been 20 plus degrees, if not hotter, at the bottom.
It was mid-20s at least.
Yeah, and we'd gone up in our snow walking boots, down and everything because it was Baltic up. It was snowing, wasn't it?
-3 and snowing, yeah.
Yeah. Alan had a funny turn because he was above a certain level of altitude and just had a headache and was angry.
Really, really busy up there though.
Again, not cheap, that train ticket, but I think from the campsite you can buy like a deal where you get so many train tickets.
Yeah.
So the more you buy, I think the more you save, sort of thing. But
within the Jungfrau region, there's a good train network as well, so you can get to different valleys. You can go to Interlaken and you can go to Grindelwald, and you can go up to Wengen that we did as well. Wengen's like a little village that's sitting above the valley of Lauterbrunnen. If you spend a bit of time there and don't sit at the campsite all day, there's so much to do, so much to see, and even from the campsite, the second time we went, we just did a big old straight walk down along the river.
Yeah.
And it's extremely picturesque. It's amazing. But even the little village is great. You've got a coop and you've got pubs and restaurants, and we did spend a bit of time in one of those pubs when we met those American people.
Yeah, so when we went the second time, it was a few nights after Oktoberfest because we'd gone from Oktoberfest to Königssee and then Königssee to Lauterbrunnen, and I still couldn't face alcohol. Well, I couldn't face beer anyway. So on the campsite I was drinking mulled wine, and the mulled wine then got me into the mood for, actually I could most probably drink a beer. And then we ended up staying out till midnight with an American couple and got a little bit tipsy.
The restaurant on site as well is really good. What did we have?
Cheese fondue.
Yeah,
the views are just amazing, and you see the what are they called? Base jumpers, yeah. It's very popular for base jumpers around there as well, so you see them just like throwing themselves off the cliffs and stuff. So that's Camping Jungfrau in Lauterbrunnen.
Absolutely. Trying to make this video remotely more interesting by having a few different camera angles. The next campsite I choose is, what's it called? Platz Grafenlehen. Well pronounced there, in Königssee in Germany, in the Bavarian Alps of Germany. And it's the campsite, really nice campsite. Again, astonishing. You can actually see Hitler's hideout. What's it called? Eagle's Nest. The Eagle's Nest is in view of this campsite, but that's not why we went. That was one of the reasons we thought we might be able to visit, but our main target was Königssee boat trip over to Obersee, and that's one of the main reasons I think you should stay at this site. If you can't get into the site, there's quite a decent sized motorhome right at the entrance. So as you pull into the campsite, if that campsite's full, look to your left and there's a big old motorhome there as well. So the location of this campsite is key. The site's nice and flat. It's a typical European campsite.
Yeah, it's not like overly special. They had a little shop on site. I just don't think it was.
Facilities were decent as well.
We washed our clothes and dried them there. That's the first time we've ever done that, ever, while travelling.
The reason we stayed at this campsite is this boat trip I mentioned. Oh, there's a, what was that?
No idea. Roller coaster.
Toboggan.
Oh yeah.
Bobsleigh. Luge.
Oh yeah.
Thingy-majig.
It's an old Olympic one, isn't it? That's out of use.
Yeah, that's there. It's really cool to go and see.
And the town itself is just
really
pretty.
Beautiful, yeah.
Proper Bavarian little village. It's really pretty.
Like it's German Alps stating, isn't it? Like all the Bavarian buildings. The boat trip from Königssee goes across Königssee Lake to the end, and which then you can walk from there to Obersee. That is just out of this fucking world. It's, if you get the weather, we got the perfect weather, I think, because it was cloudy and sunny, and there was all these moody clouds raising up in the mountain tops and they're in the trees and all that stuff. I recommend, if you haven't watched that video of ours, go and watch it. I promise you'll book a trip to Königssee off the back of it.
I mean, even fast forward the bits that are us and just look at the views, because it's really, really pretty.
I don't often say go and watch this video, go and watch that video. You know, we've done a video of all these campsites, but Königssee is the one to watch, and it hasn't had a great deal of views compared to some of the others. So there's a chance that a lot of you haven't seen it. Just honestly, go and see the landscape of the lake. It's fucking stunning. Obersee is a very remote, you can't get no road access to it, very remote area, although it's quite touristy at the same time. I think it's Germany's highest waterfall at the end of the walk too.
Don't put in the effort, it's not that.
It's a great waterfall.
It's a nice waterfall, but it's still...
I think, as I said in the video as well, it's not one of these dramatic African Niagara Fall type bloody things where you get wet from hundreds of metres away. It's almost a trickle.
It's a pretty one.
But it's the surrounding area, especially at the base, in the forest bit as well. That campsite in Königssee, absolutely definitely worth trying, because it's not just the Königssee boat trip, it's the little Königssee town, it's the little cool log flume,
luge,
toboggan thingamajig, and then you've obviously got Eagle's Nest, and there's probably loads more that we did. Bobsleigh team,
that's the one.
There's probably loads that we didn't even know that was there. Germany and Bavaria is definitely something we're going to explore more. We're not actually travelling abroad this year in the van. We are doing next year, so maybe Bavaria could be on the cards. Go check it out.
So another good site that we stayed at was in Salzburg, and it was called Camping Nord Sam.
It was a bus ride into Salzburg
city centre. It was in a really pretty place, wasn't it, really? The site was very floral. From there, we went walking through the hills, didn't we?
It felt like it was in a little village, like sort of village where somebody would live. Let me just lift that camera up a tiny bit. But like literally 2-minute walk out of that little village. It was like, what's that film you like?
Sound of Music.
Sound of Music. It was like
rolling hills and mountains.
Long alpine paths throughout the mountains, and the views were great. You could see the real Alps in the far distance, but this was like a nice manageable hill type size.
But I think what made that special is that I've been wanting to do the Sound of Music hop on hop off bus tour. We had to put it back because of COVID for my 40th birthday, so we finally went in the October, didn't we? We were all sat in a minibus with masks on. All the windows were steaming up, singing. Sound of Music songs.
But the pitch was really good. It was, shelter from the trees and what have you.
Yeah.
I think that was the first time we'd used our Cusco awning as well.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, it was pretty, all green, trees, plants, flowers. It was just really, really pretty sight.
If I remember rightly as well, you could hire bikes from there, but it was like you felt like you were raiding a children's shed or something, because
Yeah,
it was just like little weird My Little Pony bikes and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was.
Salzburg, though, as a city, is gorgeous. The architecture and the history is amazing, isn't it?
I'd like to go back because it was absolutely bouncing down. So we had brollies and I don't feel like we could relax and enjoy it as much as if it was sunny. So I think it'd be nice to go back to Salzburg again and explore it a bit more.
So yeah, Camping Nord sounds definitely worth trying. It's just on the outskirts of the city, so it's quite good. The bus route is typically Austrian, German, and it's very, very easy and efficient.
Go though.
The next one, Al?
The next one I thought we'd mention is we've never known how to pronounce this place because someone calls it Lepra, Ypres, Epra.
Ypres.
Someone told me recently it's Ypres, but it's spelled Ypres, and it's brilliant. It's such a good place to go and visit. There's no mountains, there's no lakes, there's no views to die for. We stayed at this I want to say very basic campsite, but the reason I say that is because it felt like we were just pulling into a motorhome air at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because it was just a car park essentially. It is a proper campsite. It's got little wooden huts and
It's got a hook up, hasn't it?
2 facilities, blocks and hook up and all that stuff. But the beauty of it is self-check-in. Now I think it's self-check-in only because we've only got there later in the day, and you simply just go. You book beforehand. Just go through this door, tap in your details, and it recognises and you says, yeah, you're on pitch number blah blah blah, and you're done. But it's cheap.
It's €15.
€15 a night it is. And the reason we went here wasn't for the campsite, although it has got a little Lidl or Aldi literally 5-minute walk from the site as well, so it's ideally situated. It's about a 10 to 15 minute walk from the town of, let's call it Ypres for this video. It's 10 to 15 minute walk from the town of Ypres, and then over the river, and then you're within the almost walled town of Ypres, aren't you? The town itself is special.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's I don't know, it just had a really nice vibe about it, didn't it?
So there's been a bugler or group of buglers playing the last post every single night at 8 p.m. under Manor Gate since 1928, Christmas Day, during the pandemic. During the pandemic, I believe there was one guy on his own just doing it. No crowds, no traffic, no people walking past. He just went to go and do his job every evening at 8 p.m. during the height of lockdown. And it's a spine-chilling experience, isn't it? Not only does it echo around the Manor Gate, which is this beautiful big tunnel-type bridge thing, it's got lots and lots of names of fallen soldiers engraved into the stonework. But the experience of watching the last post is well worth going to Ypres alone. It's astonishing, and there's lots of memorial stuff around the area as well. You go and read it all, and it doesn't have to put you in your place and realise how lucky we all are.
It's just very emotive. It's
emotive, that's it. Yeah, the site gives you access to this cracking little place, and even the architect, the people, Belgian people are ace. I think the site is called Camping Jeugdstadion. It'll be on the screen.
the first time we went, it was still in the pandemic, wasn't it? So there was like spacings and only so many people were allowed there and all of that. So it was quite...
You had to stand on a little circular sticker on the floor.
And they do this ceremony, they've done it every year since 1928, and it's to remember people from the British Empire and Allied forces who died in the Second World War. First World War, 1914 to 1918. But I think as well now they continue, and it's
a
all
commemorative thing for World War One and World War Two.
And other wars. Yeah, well, that's what the last post is, isn't it? It's a soldier that's fallen. That's when they play it. Yeah, it was really, really moving, wasn't it? And emotive.
Yeah, I don't really know my history. If you can hear a plane as well, we're on the flight path for Liverpool Airport, so there's currently an EasyJet taxi going past.
I wish I knew more. It's one of them. I tried to learn more now. Both my granddads fought in the Second World War.
One of them was what are they called?
Burma.
Not Egypt.
God.
Something similar. Inuit? No.
That's a giggle.
Chindits.
Both my granddads fought in Burma, but my dad was saying that one of my granddads, his dad was a Chindit. He, I remember him walking down the street with his hat on and that, people running up to him.
But then when we left Ypres on the way back to the tunnel, it's only about a 15-minute drive outside of Ypres. There's a number of memorial grave sites as well. We went to Tynecott, and I believe Tynecott is the largest Commonwealth graveyard in the world, and it's that we went to that. So I think we were getting the tunnel at 8:30 in the morning.
Yeah, we went.
So we were there at 6:30, and the sun was almost risen. So you got a bit of pastel colours in the sky. There was nobody else there. All you could hear were crows squawking, and it was really eerie, but there was no wind, and it was just dead serene, and it really painted a picture of what you're meant to feel at a site like this.
Yeah.
Because we hardly spoke, did we? We were there for an hour, just walking around, soaking it in. We hardly spoke a word to each other.
Yeah, and then we nearly missed the train.
There was a lot of unmarked graves as well, because not everybody can be identified.
And then there's a wall as well that's been left blank. I think we said this in the video, but there's a wall that's been left blank, and it's DNA technology and all of that is more advanced now. They're actually being able to identify people, or if they find other people, they're actually inscribing them onto the walls as well. So they're still updating now.
Changing the subject matter ever so slightly, going to the Flanders Museum, it gives you a lot more history there and a lot more facts that you can read about. In the same building as the Flanders Museum is the Cat Museum.
All there all the time.
What?
That was just a shop. That was just like a touring.
Shut up.
Yeah, that
like
one. That's not always there. Yeah.
Ah.
That's not. Yeah.
So these can't go and experience what we experienced.
No, I mean, if you've been there recently and the Cat Museum's still there, let us know. But I'm pretty certain it was like an exhibition that was there for a period of time.
The Cat Museum
was freaky.
Was worth going to Ypres alone.
It was the most uncomfortable I've ever felt in my whole entire life, because there was a person on the door who was very proud of it, and there was only us in there, and it was silent.
And remember he said, when you go down to the corner,
look
above your head, and there was a cat, like a drone.
Yeah.
It was weird. But anyway, that campsite, I can't remember what it's called, can't even pronounce it, but I'll put it on the screen, or I already have done. Absolutely worth going to, because Ypres is one of my favourite non-mountainous places we've ever been to.
We've been twice and we will go again, definitely. Yeah. And it's about, an hour from the Eurotunnel? So
about an hour.
So instead of stopping in France, like your Calais and that, it's another alternative to stay at.
Hello.
That's my tripod. No.
Hello. Ow, he's just scratched my leg. Ow.
Get down.
Oh, your claws need cutting there, sunshine. Ow.
Yeah, not the best situation here, the lights behind us, but you can hear us. The next one I think we should mention, Camping Manor Farm 1, it's called, as in number 1. And this again is one of those sites we've been back to again. It's on Lake Thun, however you say it, just outside Interlaken. This is one where you go for the location. You could stay on this site for 2 or 3 days, not move, and be happy. If you like water sports, this is the one for you. If you like watching the sunset over the mountains, sitting on the lake's edge, this is the one for you. If you like camping next to the lake, this is the one for you.
If you like spot on toilets, they've just had the most all singing and dancing toilet block built. It's like, it's not even toilets, it's like got everything in it. It's 2 floors. It's got
the toilet block nearest to the
reception,
nearest to where you stay on the lakeside, is okay. The toilet block big old wooden unit next to the reception. When you first drive in, that's the first thing you'll see right in front of you. That's the one to go to. Downstairs in that thing, they had like a camping kitchen, a lounge, all that. So if you're staying in a tent or a tiny little van and the weather's bad, it's almost like an apartment on the ground floor for campers to use. And it's got like real high quality ovens and coffee machines and everything. It's astonishing, but that's not the best bit about this site. The best bit about this site is where it is. Interlaken is a great little town, isn't it? Lots and lots of shops and bars and rivers running through. We sat next to the river once, didn't we? We actually did a little vloggy bit next to the river.
I don't think it was little either, was it?
No, it was quite big actually.
There's a main train station there as well, which I think you can then. So I think if you were buying the train tickets from Lauterbrunnen, like we were saying, everything I think goes into Laeken and then back out again. So if you're staying there, you could use that as your base to fly off to all the other places within Switzerland.
The first time we ever went to Switzerland, we went to Basel for a gig. What was it? Who was it called?
Mumford & Sons.
Mumford & Sons. So we flew there, stayed for 3 nights, and went to see Mumford & Sons. And the hotel gave us free bus passes and tram passes. And I was like, huh? It turns out it's just a Swiss thing. So this campsite give you a pass, and there's a big old passenger ferry that stops next to the site and takes you round into Interlaken as well. So you don't have to get the bus. You get this big old boat on this beautiful lake. It's
Instead, we decided to walk the first time we went in like the hottest weather you could ever imagine, with no water, no food, and nearly died.
But we did find a cake shop.
Oh yeah.
Remember that? Vanilla slice. You literally went, oh.
It was like a horn.
That's it, yeah.
But it tasted like a Greg's vanilla slice.
Magical.
It's a belter of a site. It is a belter of a site.
The second time we went on a kayak. So you know there was signs up saying, I think if it was a motor boat, you had to get permission and license and all that. But kayaks and sups and all that, knock yourself out, no extra charge. One that we can actually pronounce, Camping Manor Farm 1.
Yeah.
We've actually recommended this to a number of people recently, and there's a couple of people on Instagram who had actually been there in the last few weeks, and there's a couple of people who said they're going as well. So yeah, highly recommend it.
Yeah, definitely.
That concludes our little collection of campsites that we think you should visit. Just because we say they are amazing sites doesn't mean to say you are going to like them, but you never know until you get there and find out for yourself. We've got to crack on. We're going to take Jack to naughty school. Let us know if you stayed at any of these same sites and what your opinion of them was.
So long, folks. I think we'll all know that was Woody the Woodpecker.